Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakakadash, Barakatam, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Remy Strong well, to the Akim Akbar, throughout the four corners of the earth, holding on in sincerity and in truth, to the gospel of Lord Amashak, Yahweh Shai, in these days and times, with diligence of mind, this brother Menashe, DC Camp, short lesson for the hopeful elect. And when the news article came out, as per the preliminary approval for the arc of Trump
Plans to build President Trump's massive arch at Memorial Circle.
to be approved for construction, it becomes a hot topic for these people. I don't want to see it there. And yeah, they have valid points. You know, Trump wants his his cake and he wants to eat it from dawn till dusk. And he's kind of what you call they say he's an egomaniac and all that stuff. Hey, that's what the Lord put him there for, man. You know, he represents the lowest point of Edomite supremacy, or let me say white supremacy. Yeah, because under his watch, his kingdom, the kingdom of Edom, is rapidly separating. The division among Edomites is growing faster and faster and faster. The Lord is speeding it up, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. Yeah, so it's just part of the signs to come, man. When you have a president that doesn't flow well with the people, it becomes an igniting rod of chaos, of separation. When the people start to turn their back against the so-called leaders, then there's a problem. Just like they say, Houston, we got a problem. Yeah, that's just how it is, man. In Capitol Hill, we've got a problem. Yeah, so plan for triumphal arch wins initial approval, all right? So it's going to be built close to the Lincoln Memorial and the Arlington Memorial Cemetery in between, all right? So where you have the Memorial Bridge that connects DC to Virginia, that's where they want to place this arch, and they're already complaining about what it's going to cost to put such a structure in place. And they're going to have to make a lot of new redesigns, man. When you have something like this over there, there's something that comes into mind. All this so-called feasibility studies. The type of material they're going to be using, the location itself, because it's also close to the airport, the Reagan Airport. It's also close to the Pentagon. So who knows what else they're going to be considering. It's because it's so much that goes into the building of all these monuments, man, because you don't know what's going to happen when you start to dig into the ground. So, hey, whatever it takes, we shall see. But who knows, man, we're almost at the end of this chapter of our captivity, and Esau wants to erect a monument unto himself. So I'll play this video real quick, and then I get some precepts.
Plans to build build President Trump's massive arch at Memorial Circle near Arlington National Cemetery received preliminary approval today, with some questions still remaining.
Yet members of the National Capital Planning Commission gave the initial green light, but they also raised questions about issues ranging from height to lighting and even...
Yep, so you're gonna have a lot of electrical work, you know, and it's just how it is, man. Just like when we got conquered, 70 AD, you had the Act of Titus. Now we're gonna have the Act of the Act of Nero. Yeah, man. So it's just how it is, man. There's an arch in Paris also. It's an arch in Germany. So this ancient outposts of the Roman Empire. Yeah, you just have to consider them, and you have to take into account that America is basically the rebirth of Rome. You could look at the way the construction of those museums have been presented, and then you look at the government buildings, especially the White House and the Capitol Hill. You see all those columns. You look at the way the monuments are laid out. There's Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, and all that stuff. You can always tell how the mind of Esau operates, man. There's one thing Esau cannot do. He cannot overcome his identity. The Messiah put him in that lot. So whatever he has to do, it's within his lot. That's just how the Messiah have created nations. Alright, so now you have to see, when they're going to begin construction. And yeah, I drive through there every single day. Every single day I gotta drive through Memorial Bridge. Yeah, because if you don't want to deal with all the traffic, if you're going on 16th Street, or you're going on Georgia Avenue, if you don't want to go through downtown, you could always cut across into Memorial Bridge, then get onto Rock Creek Parkway. That's how you get to the zoo. The zoos and the where you have the diplomats. Embassy Row and all that stuff. That's where you have the diplomats stationed. The State Department, all that. Yeah, so it's just part of it. You have to be aware that we're still in captivity.
Traffic. News 4's Adam Tuss is at Memorial Circle tonight with a closer look at some new issues that were raised.
Well, this is Memorial Circle. This is where the arch would be built right here. And as you take a walk around the circle, you can see how busy it is without an arch. As far as traffic is concerned, there's always traffic here because it's a main artery to get around this region. And now there are new concerns that building this arch here could have significant transportation impacts. How about half-mile backups onto the nearby George Washington Parkway and Washington Boulevard, not to mention new traffic signals that would have to go in all around the circle. Traffic concerns, the latest issues surrounding President Trump's plans for a 250-foot tall arch at Memorial Circle.
Yeah, so this is what you're going to have to look forward to seeing, and that place is a ball of confusion in the morning when you have rush hour. Right, so Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3 says, the pride of thine heart had deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the mindset of Esau's government system, man. They take so much pride in their military prowess, in their technological advancements, all that, man. They take so much pride in it, that they just overlook, the counsel of the Lord, and they you know, they walk around with pride and arrogance, and they just rub it in your face, like what you gonna do about it, all right? And they have that pompous mindset. And then verse 4 says, Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So, they put in forth a lot of their innovations in space for the whole world to see. And it becomes, what you call it, a pattern that you just look at Esau and wonder, like, God damn, this guy is just doing things, and it seems as if he's getting away with it. But the Lord, has put a timeline on Esau's rulership, man. So who knows? Who knows how quick, Esau's kingdom is gonna fall, man. Who knows if he's gonna be able to put up this memorial for himself. And this is what Trump wants to do, man. Since he didn't get his way with the Kennedy Memorial, the Kennedy Center. Now he wants to have his arch. So hey, he doesn't change the course of prophecy. That's just the way things have been orchestrated by the Lord. The book of Job, chapter 18, 11, reminds you that when the Lord begins to shake the kingdom of the wicked, things happen. Certain vibrations get unleashed, such as fear, terror, calamity, famine, destruction. All right, Job 18 and 11. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. All right, so they're gonna hurry up and run to their bunkers, man. They're gonna go seek safety in their refuge, away from all the calamities, man. They're gonna go into their deep underground military bases, man. And it's just how it is for these elites, man. They're gonna go into a location that cannot be reached by the regular people. Verse 12 says, His strength shall be hung and beaten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. So the Lord has to put forth an environment with certain conditions that will lead to the downfall of Edom. All right, so the Lord has to start pulling the strings of Esau's power structure apart, just like you have those cables on the bridge. Just imagine if they start snapping one at a time. If one cord snaps every hour, or one day a week, or one day or once a month, one of the cord snaps, that becomes a problem. All right, so that's how the Lord is going to take down Babylon, snapping all the cords down, man. All right, and then verse 13 says, It shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. So the Lord of Mashiach Yahushua is going to have to pull down the stronghold of Esau, man. That's just how it is. He's the only one that has that power to take Esau's system apart, take down Esau's empire. All right, Esau's power structure. That's Yahushua's lot. All right, he's the one that can orchestrate and deliver on that campaign. Verse 14 says, His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. So the fear of the Lord, is going to be vibrant in the minds of the elites, man. that they've put so much money into their rulership, into their influence, into their wealth making industry. Yeah, they're going to have to deal with the wrath of the Lord. Alright, there verse 15 says, "It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation." So, yeah, they might build a monument up at any point in time, but at the end of the day, it's just for them to be demolished. And that's just how the Lord operates, man. He's going to allow Esau to build up his kingdom, you know, to the pinnacle of his strength. And then that's it, you know. It's time to knock it down. Just like you have sandcastles on the beach. That's just what it is, you know. So another precept will be from the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 69 and 26. It says, "For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded." And that's what Esau does, man, when he rules over the poor with rigor, with impunity, with malice, evil. What do you think the Lord is going to do in return? The Lord has to make an example, of Esau, and that's what's going to become very evident soon, man. Because our people just catching so much hell under the power structure of Edom. When you think about his so-called criminal justice system, educational system, financial system, transportation, the so-called military system, commercial, whatever industry, man, our people is just at the bottom, catching hell. All right, and what do you think the Lord has prepared in his mind to do? He has to shake it down. All right, Psalm 69:26. "For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten." So when the Lord has been chastising us, he wants to add his own on top of it, and then he goes overboard with it. All the calamities he's visited upon us, it's documented, and he's still committing calamities against our people. Chaos, chaos, chaos. You can't allow our people to live freely and breathe freely. And they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded, and that's what they do. You can't allow the children of the Lord, Yasharala, the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, to be at peace. It's always instigating chaos. Verse 27 says, "Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness." And that's how it is. That's how Esau has to be shut out. All right, he will not partake in the righteousness of the kingdom to come. All right, the kingdom of Israel. Verse 28 says, "Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous." Yeah, so we're just waiting till that fateful day when the Lord is going to pull the remembrance and existence of Edom from off the face of the earth. Folks are complaining about genocide now. If only they knew the type of genocide the Lord is planning against these Edomites, that would be something to consider. The Lord just wipe all Edomites from off the face of the earth. A lot of people don't even know that's going to happen. So it's what it's all leading to, man. We have to go through this straight and narrow path of chastening before the Lord. You got to deal with the arrogancy of the proud. All right. Now another precept before the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verses 5 and 6. It says, "Thou hast rebuked the heathen, thou hast destroyed the wicked, thou hast put out their name forever and ever. Yeah, so that's what the Lord's going to do. He has to tear down the power structure, their remembrance, their influence, all right, from the face of the earth. The Lord has to wipe them off the map. Just like you see all that bulldozing going on over there in Palestine, the demolition of buildings in Lebanon. That's what's going to happen in America when the Lord begins to push forth that vibration of destruction upon America, man. When those missiles begin to be launched from the east and from the west and from the north and from the south, it's going to be horrible. You know, it's going to be a total evisceration of America, and you know, this is the bottomless, what do you call it, the bottomless empire. All right, the bottomless empire. You know, this is the the lake of fire. Yeah, it's a lake of fire. It's America for you, okay? And you just have to be ready, man. And then verse 6, Psalms 9 and 6, all that enemy destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities, their memorial is perished with them. So that's what's coming, man. You know, the destruction that Esau has caused, you know, the Lord is going to put a limit to it soon. And then the Lord will turn the tables against him. So that's what we're looking forward to, man. That the Lord will turn the tables against Edom. And we're going to have the upper hand. Just like when you read the book of Habakkuk, you know, it prepares you for the things to come. Habakkuk chapter 2, and read from verse 9, it says, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. All right, Habakkuk 2 and 9. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Yeah, so Esau has a lot to pay for, man. All these rich Edomites, you know, that moving around in their private jets, in their private security detail, that enjoying the spoils of their exploits. Yeah, they're gonna have to deal with the judgment coming against them. You know, everything that they've constructed, you know, as their backup plan is going to be put to the test by the Lord. Verse 10 says, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. Now, verse 11 says, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. So that's the destruction of America's system. You know, the institutions shall fail. When the institutions fail, the so-called branches of the government, executive, legislative, and judiciary, when they fall apart, then you're gonna see the collapsing of buildings. You're gonna see the destruction of infrastructure. You're gonna see the fight among the people. You're gonna have all that chaos. All right. Then you see the demolishing of the memorials. All right. That's what's gonna happen. And then you also read from the book of Psalms chapter 109, 17 to 19. It says, as he loved cursing, so let it come unto him. As he delighted not in blessing, so let it be far from him. Yeah, so that's the mindset of Edom. You know, whatever they do, you know, it draws them farther away from the Lord, and that's where they are, man. They're just out there. Scripture talks about him being the man of the field. So he's just out there, man. There's nothing to draw Esau near to the Lord, man. They're just going to be out there, just like the so-called scapegoat. All right? And that's just what it is. And then verse 18 says that as he clothed himself with cursing, like as with his garments, so let it come into his bowels like water and like oil into his bones. So that's how the Lord is going to orchestrate the downfall of Babylon from within. The internal destruction has to start. The so-called politicians have to be instrumental in causing this destruction. They have to play their role. They have to take the bag. They have to turn the other eye and go along with the agenda of the elites. And that's just the way, the Most High has said it to happen. They have to become professional turncoats. And that's just a guarantee that the Lord has to set in place, has to be set in stone, man. The Lord has to saturate the American government system with turncoats, all right? And then verse 19 says, let it be unto him as the garment which covereth him, and for a girdle wherewith he is girded continually. Yeah, so chaos, confusion, calamities, death, destruction is just going to be surrounding Esau wherever he goes, man. That's just the way his empire has to has to exist. That's in opposition to the Lord's righteousness. So it's going to be chaos. The elements of chaos have to stay in Babylon. That's just how it is. The elements of chaos have to be firmly rooted in Babylon. And this arch represents that too.
Listen to this comment from a member of the design team for the arch about pedestrians trying to get to the center of the arch quickly.
Generally, pedestrians are going to take the path of least resistance. So if they have to go out of their way in order to reach a crosswalk, they're more likely to take unsafe behaviors and try to divert into traffic in order to get to where they're going.
Yeah, so you think road rage is bad now. You wait to see what happens when that memorial is constructed, if it's the Lord's will. You're going to see a lot of tempers flaring, man, because the elevator is not going up anymore, man. People are becoming more animalistic than ever. You see that a lot on the highway. You see that a lot in your jail system. You see that a lot in your so-called political debates. So it is what it is. There is no running away from it. So, book of Proverbs chapter 10 and 7, the memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall wrath. Alright? Psalms 10 and 7, the memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. Yeah, so America is in decay mode at this moment, man. The relations between America and its allies over there in the West, all right, those NATO countries, it's just, it's weakening, all right, it's falling apart. Spain, Portugal, out of there. Germany, you have the UK, you have France, Norway, Belgium. Yeah, it's falling apart. It's falling apart. That's just how it is. Because now they realize what happens when their economy gets tied to Esau's system. The plug can be pulled, it can be locked out. of the financial system where they have their so-called wages, connected to. All right. So it's just how it is, you know. And then Proverbs 10:8 says, "The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall." And that's just what to expect, with Esau's government. He has to be given enough room, to run amok. And then, hey, once it runs out of energy, that's it. There is no reinforcement, there is no refueling. That's just what the Lord has scheduled for Esau, man. Once he's run out of resources, that's it for him. All right. So, yeah, his speech is gonna be shut down, man. His speech that he likes to use to mesmerize the people will no longer be in demand. It's gonna lose its luster. It's gonna lose its allure. It's gonna lose its traction. It's gonna lose its attractiveness. That's just what it is. So when the minds of the people begins to separate from their government, that's it. That's another opportunity for for the division to become extremely visible. All right.
It's estimated that 900 pedestrians per hour could try to go to the center of the arch, and that requires a lot of new signals, crosswalks, traffic lights, potentially holding up vehicular traffic at the circle. There was also plenty of public comment asking the commissioners to veto the entire project.
Memorial Circle is an open and reflective space which commands the solemnity owed to the hallowed grounds where over 40,000 service members and their families are buried. The arch would be a slap in the face to our veterans.
Questions also still remain about the height of the arch, nighttime lighting, and frankly, clutter at what is now an open space. The project will ultimately need final approval from the Interior Department. It's not yet known when that will happen.
Yeah. They always say jobs, 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 more chaos, more jobs. So that means you have to hire more police. You have to hire more people to keep the place cleaned up and all that stuff. So that's just Babylon, man. It's a good side to chaos. All right, Shalom.